Bjarke Just Nielsen is the founder and CEO of Norrlyst Koncernen, one of the fastest growing restaurant groups in Denmark. Not long after securing a dream job in the corporate world, Bjarke decided to follow his passion and return to the service industry. What began with a single venue has since evolved into a thriving group of over 16 restaurants and bakeries in Copenhagen, including the newly opened Udtryk, which earned a Michelin star just 5 weeks after launching. Through it all, Bjarke stayed committed to building not just restaurants, but workplaces that put people first and personal growth. Welcome, Bjarke. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Maybe we can start with a bit of an introduction to you. As I just read out, you started your career in the corporate world, but then decided to move back to the service industry rather quickly.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that decision?
Yes, that's could both be a long and a short story, but the shorter version is that I come from the service industry and I've been in it my youth and had my first job as a dishwasher and then grew my path into a restaurant manager. And I loved all of it. It was passion-driven, fun work for me, and I also felt I was good at it. I was not one that was best at anything, not on the soccer team, not in the school, not in the basketball team or anything. So restaurant industry was my passion and my job besides my study. And I also actually started on studying service economics at CBS. So I actually followed my path. But then somehow from my bachelor degree to my master degree, I jumped over in supply chain management, which has nothing to do with service at all. Maybe it was the whole business school environment and friend groups that I came in and all that convinced me that we should keep studying together. This was a better choice for the future, more job security, higher payrolls, etc. And that's also true, all of it. Got a dream job right after my studies, and you had several to choose from actually, and started up at Novo Nordisk and then moved into Ørsted, and both of them some sort of talent tracks where you had your whole career lined out. Started up with high salaries, perfect job descriptions, and so much education just put into you, like millions a year of training and development and dreams. But I was very fastly under I was just not stoked about it. I was so I was good at it also, and I thrived in it because I had great colleagues, and I could see that it's a good choice of life, but my head just wanted to contribute more. I always went to my boss in these one-to-one once a month and said, I can do more, give me more, show me the next, and let me move. And in the corporate world, that's not how it works. Just because you're ready, it's not necessarily means that they are ready, and you have to follow the tracks that you've been put in. And I quickly found out that I had to try something else, and wanted to become independent. And then I actually on the side started a team building company, just IT online. I didn't do team building myself. I just connected people that wanted team building with people that offered team building exercises. And after a year of that, I sold that IT company to somebody that actually had a passion of team building, and used that money to start up Norrlyst. Somewhat almost 6 years ago now.
Was there a specific moment where you realized that it was the restaurant industry that was calling for you again?
To be 100% honest, it could have been that I should have done something else also. I could have been in fashion. I could have been in hotel. I could have been in many fast-growing consumer industries. Could also have been in tech. That was what I already did. But I felt that I had to try to go back to the actual roots and give this a go, because I had, as I think all the restaurateurs when they start up, at least from nothing, this idea of the good life of work and private life just merging together in some great harmony where wine and work becomes the same, and your family comes in and have a dinner, and you're just sitting in. That was the idea when I started up. I was not planning for what is Norrlyst today. I had a passion project that I wanted to start up, and
So where did you start? What was the first restaurant?
The same day as I quit, I went to see a room in a basement at Kompagnistrade, and I also signed the papers that day. And I was actually not out of my old job yet. I was still hired for 3 more months. So it was some fast decisions, and I didn't have a big plan. That's one side of me. There's a lot of structured and IT and data-driven side, and then there's a very risk-loving guy that also just loves taking decisions and putting his hand on the hot plate, and both taking the carrots if it goes right, but also taking the downtime if it doesn't. And
the best plan is no plan.
Sometimes, to be honest, and sometimes it still is. I maybe jump a little bit ahead in this conversation, but we don't do 5-year plans. We don't do budgets without longer than the coming year and all this, because we've been here for 5 years now. We've been through Corona. Who could have seen that? Suez Canal with delivery stops of everything, recruitment problems, etc., etc. There's been 7 major challenges in the last 5 years that nobody could have foreseen. So maybe like an agile strategy where you can just be changing compared to your environment in our industry is the right choice, and that's a quick decision, quick movement strategy. And I think that's also how my brain functions best, not overthinking from the start, and then moving on stomach feelings and working. It's a working victory. We know that we can have a victory if we just put ourselves into it and keep working on it until we get there. And that's been Norrlyst history so far also.
But I guess with your background from Copenhagen Business School and also working in the corporate world, you also got some skills that are kind of handy when you start a business, that maybe most restaurants are not focusing too much on in the very beginning, like good budgets, use of data and stuff like that. Can you maybe touch a little bit about what did you take from that degree, but also the experience, and how do you use that today in the restaurants?
And again, the honest truth, even though I would love to just put it differently because I'm the only one knowing it, so I could also just state the truth that I want. But the honest truth is that I started with nothing from that. I had no good luggage that I'll take this with me, and I'll be good at math and economics, and I'll make some better decisions around that. I started up hiring way too little people. No plan on the food, no look of a map of what do we have here around me, what's the competitors doing, should I do something else? Again, almost no plan. And the truth is also Norrlyst in the 3-4 first month was it was a loving place, and it was a warm place to go into where there was a lot of love coming out of both waiters and kitchen and me. There's no idea about what we made of food, if it was good. Was it sandwiches? We did breakfast in the beginning, and it was is it oatmeal today? And everything was just, there was no plan. There was no idea. The construction was not done. I sometimes did service in one room, and then I put up acoustic plates in the other room at the same time. So came in and out. Are you guys good? Yeah, we're good. Okay, back in and putting up acoustic plates. And
sounds like a good amount of cares on brand for.
It's a very entrepreneurial start as it is, and it's very true. And I was no better than that at all. On the contrary, I think I was way worse. I was all of it, the whole plate, with no idea. And I was very lucky that I also got some employees in that knew a lot of things that I didn't. Had some ideas for direction for the food, and had some ideas for the interior and branding, etc. Helped a lot and gave us a good way to go after the first 3 months. So we actually started to have a little bit of a traction, but then after 4.5 months, Corona came and shut us down. So we maybe had one good month, both financially, but also in terms of a structured place before we had to shut down. And as a new place, you got there was no
compensation.
No compensation, no safety net, no nothing, because we were less than a year old, so everything was just out the door. So you could shut down, fire everybody and sit there and cry, or you could try to fix it. And I think that's where the journey of Norrlyst started actually in Corona, because we decided to keep everybody and stay together and then find a way out. So we opened actually a second restaurant with no money and no nothing. And it's decided in that restaurant to do a delicatessen and a deli shop, because that were allowed to be open. You could have a flower shop, you could have a supermarket, you could have a delicatessen. So we cut cheese and sausages and made creams and tapas plates and salads, and then we sold that from the restaurant. And found out just by opening that, nobody came because it's Corona, nobody wants to go out. So how do you find your employees? How do you find your customers? You go online, and then you start this branding journey. And then we also stayed together, everybody, in a Corona bubble, and worked next to each other every day, talked about what do we want when this is over? What is Norrlyst going to be? Why are we here? Because now we could see that just being here is not a plan, and it's not what we want. It's not giving anything to the community, to us, to the guests. So we had to find out what our purpose was, and that actually became, during the Corona lockdown, that we wanted to be data-driven. Probably also because of Corona. It was a lot of people were moving that way, right? Team building. Let's do it online. Let's do gym classes on the computer instead. Everybody had to adapt. And that was also how we found out that we wanted to adapt. Like, if something like this happened again, we better need to have control on what happened on a computer, what happens on the internet, and what our guest journeys is from when they learn about us to when they go into the restaurant and they actually have a meal with us, and also after. So we started our data journey from first Corona lockdown, which is now the backbone and the 100%.
What sort of data did you look at this time?
In the beginning, it was purely customer data. So we want to find out who our customers were, so we could talk to them and find them and brand to them and get them down to our deli shop in the beginning and sell them cheese and meats. And we just have a huge success with that.
And social media marketing? Or?
Actually, the backbone from the beginning was email and email campaigns and email marketing. And that's still the strongest backbone that we have. Now you can say that if we know Jytte and we have the mail for Jytte and we also have her age and her, then we kind of have the whole spectrum. So we can also catch her on social media now today. It's very linked together, everything. And we now have a data points around 120,000 Copenhageners that we communicate to on email lists alone. That's without meta platforms. And
how do you get people on your mailing list? Is it through table bookings and...
So many different factors. Yeah. So it's like eight-legged octopus that has different ways of putting in. Most of them are organic ways. We don't try to do it through like cheesy competitions or like, hey, sign up here and get free meal. But we do have, we've built 3 IT companies on the side now. Later on, this is of course not in the beginning story anymore, but 2 of those are a huge factor of keep pulling in mails, and also of when Norrlyst maybe have to move outside of Copenhagen. We currently have almost no traction on anybody else than Copenhageners, but we're also moving those before. So we put the IT systems in Aarhus before we go there with the restaurant. And then the IT systems can make so much traction that we can see, okay, now we have a critical mass that we can actually put in a physical location, and supply and demand will be met from that.
So we did move a little bit forward in the journey, but can you maybe tell us a little bit about how did you went from those first 2 locations you kind of had during COVID to now having plus 15?
Yeah, again, it's this third one came from, it was my birthday, and my head chef, he invited me for a sandwich for lunch. So we went to Sandwich Peen in the city center. And on our way there, we went by a window shield where it says for rent, restaurant shut down. And it was an old Greek place called Samos, buffet place with Greek food that's been there for a long time. And the door was open and the realtor was in there. So we just went in and took a look. And then again, that's the risk averseness that we talked about 5 minutes ago, and not the structured, data-driven guy that we talked about the last 5 minutes. got an offer from Lease for there, and then we went for it. And that was also not a good idea. It was just after Corona, and it was actually between the first and the second lockdown. So I think the first mini restaurant openings is because of chances. It's not a strategy. The fourth one is Gemini at Planetariet. There was a lady working there that came to Norrlyst a lot of times and had smørrebrød. She loved it. They had a restaurant that was empty. Invited us out there to see it, and we also loved the space. And 2 weeks later, we had a signed contract for that as well, and that kind of came in at the same time as another space. And it's again the not having a plan sometimes being the best plan of opening, and that was the first 5 to 6. Now it's much more strategic, and we are planning 2 to 3 years ahead at the moment for openings. So of course we also need to develop, and my risk averseness also needs to change with the foundation of Norrlyst today.
When you're talking about being more strategic, what are the steps you take when looking for new locations and opening new locations? Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. The restaurant industry has changed a lot. When I opened the first restaurant, you paid something in Danish called nøglepenge, key money, directly transferred, because it was a scarcity. Nobody had that. Supply and demand were on the owner's favor. So having a restaurant was something that not a lot of people could just have. It cost millions to just get the key and sign a contract, and then you get nothing else. Today it's close to the contrary. Restaurateurs are offering money for other people to take over their restaurant, and that's also a little bit of how it looks today for Norrlyst. We don't look for opportunities anymore, because the honest thing is that every week 4 to 5 different prospects come into the mailbox, and the network is working itself more or less at the moment. This is not a Norrlyst exclusive luxury. It's an industry thing, and restaurateurs that do good in the business and have a name is getting offered more and more opportunities. Every time something opens as Carlsbergbyen or Nordhavn develops, Sydhavn opens up a new area, people want a bunch of restaurants, and they are keen to building them to you if you want to come and operate. So we're very picky at the moment, and really only going for what we see as the right fit for Norrlyst. And currently, that's also a plus side of locations. Væksthuset close to Operan, together with Maersk, we're opening up at a key location in the city center that everybody knows the name of, but it's still a secret. In summer 2026, it's a zoo. It's all cultural institutions. The Tower in Folketinget and Christiansborg. We're really trying to make sure that our time given for opening a restaurant is of the highest, both profitable chances, but also steps milestone-wise for Norrlyst.
Now you mentioned a lot of tourist attractions next to the locations, so that's also something you're looking for, right? Sounds like it.
That's maybe where the last Bjarke comes in, but there is also a financial understanding guy behind all of the risk averseness and the data, and it's often not a bad thing to be close to where people are and money are spent, and that has shown also in the choosings that we have done. Our top 3 best financial, both revenue but also profit restaurants are in cultural places. So we of course would like to have more of those than sometimes the basement restaurant in the street down the road is still profitable, but you need maybe 10 or 20 of those to match one of the other ones I just mentioned. So time-wise, it's often the same push you have to give in to open one or the other. It's the same 3 or 4 months of admin focus you need to put in. It's the same scheduling for your waiters. It's the same setup for your POS systems, recruitments, etc. So like work-wise, it's the same difficulty, but your outcome is just so different.
And when you find the right location, having an empty room and filling it up with a great concept, a great menu, and great people. How do you do that? Do you look for a potential head chef that can kind of be a partner of the new business, or do you take existing people?
It depends so much on the concept that we open up with. Udtryk, as you mentioned in the beginning, it's not possible to go down a road as Udtryk without having a head chef first. Like, that's actually the key before the physical location, to find the person that needs to bring whatever you do here to life, and then you actually have to match that with the physical spot. When moving to Væksthuset, it's a contract negotiation that took a little bit more than a year, where it's not so important what head chef you end up with. It's more concepts and opening dates and a lot of under contractual, a little bit more boring stuff that does the actual journey for a restaurant opening. And then you can also adapt that a little bit more with time and knowledge, and see what people actually demand. We had an idea of croissants and coffee, and a lot of things would be the factor that they want in Væksthuset, but it showed that it was actually evening menus, and it was a long dining experience, and smørrebrød and kids food. So it's sometimes an idea to not have the biggest plan. And with Udtryk and restaurants like that, you need to have a very strict structured plan. So it's so diverse, and we always go in and see a place, and then we from that make an idea of what could it be.
So is that the usual plan you go through? Like, maybe a new location gets offered, you visit, and then you start thinking, okay, what concept could we do here? And from there on, you decide next steps. Okay, maybe we find someone to do it with us, or you do it yourself.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
We are like a small handful now. That's often I maybe go and see it the first time myself, or together with one colleague. And then if it's of interest, then we go like a handful of people that have different tasks and areas in the company and see it. And I think we have not tried it yet that we don't agree on, like, this is just a French bistro written on all of it, or this is a kid's place, or it's this stomach feeling on industry understanding. And if we all like agree on it, then there must be some things that are maybe not 100% off, that people coming as customers would think the same.
And I guess you look at the area as well, what's around it.
The physical building, like, again, a basement feel is just one feel, and Væksthuset with 360 glass all over in the middle of a park, green plants all over, 7 different parks in the area, water all the way around. It would be so weird to do like a steakhouse. And most people would agree. So that's green-based food. It's smørrebrød with a lot of herbs and a lot of flowers on top, and you know, the cutlery and the plating are in light colors, and it gives you a feeling of and you know, it's a feeling. Which is difficult to understand, but most people still get it, that this is a fit for this, and this is a fit for that.
And so once you find the location, you establish a concept. What are the steps you take to open the restaurant, but also in terms of getting to profitability? Like, do you have a time frame that you keep in mind?
I would love to say yes.
If only.
If only, yeah, exactly.
Of course, depending on the concepts and everything, yeah.
And it's often more depending if we are leasing in, like you do when you get a new apartment, and you just lease in, and then you have to find out when you move in, and the moving guys and all that. Most people, most times it's done with somebody. Væksthuset we did together with Maersk. There's a lot of things that we need to agree on. It's owned by Ane Mærsk McKinney Ugla. She has a lot of opinions about how this should be, what it should be. There's a board of directors of 10 people wearing suit and tie every day that have opinions, and then there is my opinion. And we kind of need to find out in that spectra, both time frame, timeline, PR stories, what are we doing? And then there's the other place where we just open a place ourselves. Last one we did was Lago by the lakes. But again, it was actually a place we took over. Lago existed before we opened, so we also had to stay true to some things, because there was a lot of goodwill. There was a lot of people that had an opinion about this place, that loved what was. So we had to put our own take on top of something else, and that time frame we could control ourselves. So also went quite faster and opened up, maybe within weeks instead of months and years, which is some time. And then from opening day, our whole data structure comes in. And that's kind of the same, no matter if it's Væksthuset and Mærsk as the owner, or if it's just Norrlyst. The data is moving in from opening dates with its power and making sure that profitability more or less in the operations start from day one. And that's actually a truth so far for us, luckily, that operation profit is happening from day one on all of our locations.
What are like the key data metrics you look at now?
It's still customer data. Mails is still the strongest factor that we have in terms of communication. Without it getting too boring specific, but when we send 100 mails, we have 7 to 8% call to action. So if we ask somebody to do something in an email or suggest something, then 7 to 8% will think it's a good idea. And from pure statistics, that gives us a lot of working space in the 120,000 mailing lists. So that's also where we can see supply and demand being very moving, because we decide what to offer and where the need is. And actually, we've created an algorithm to put on top of that helps us with deciding and look into the forecast and the movement. Which are working together with the mailing list. So it's still emails that are our top focus.
Is it like you look at the tendency for maybe last year? What was the weather? How many guests can we kind of expect this year? And if it's lower than expected, you push out email to kind of get more guests in?
On the very low level, that's more or less the case. It's the forecast is also working together with some AI functions, but you of course have to adapt those to reality. It's not always that AI takes the right decision, understands the right things. It is looking into variables compared to last year, last week, last Monday, 4 Mondays ago, etc. But it doesn't necessarily know when sun is shining. You can tell it manually that it's Valentine's Day on this date every year, and kind of just take that out and make it black, close everything down on that date, etc. Christmas season for Christmas parties is a highlight of restaurateurs, New Year's and all that. So you need to still do a lot of things manually in order to keep it up. But it is basically how it works.
With closing down, you're referring to no promotions whatsoever.
Exactly.
Just... It will be full.
So of course it costs money to do branding and to get people in and to sit down. It's not for free. Even if you have a lot of mails you can send to, people are still writing those mails. A lot of things are happening around, and that's what's closed down when people are coming in by themselves. But the algorithm is also using price structure. That's where it comes in and becomes clever, because actually you can sell the same product at an overprice on high dates if you want to. It's not really done yet in the restaurant industry, but it's done in all other industries. Airplane ticket is more expensive on a Friday than it is on a Tuesday morning, etc. And it's very normal in most industries. Fashion, the same clothes can cost something in spring, and then when it's fall, it's half price because it's
Black
out
Friday.
of season, Black Friday, etc. And we know a lot about it in discounts. Restaurants give discounts. You have Jensen's Bøfhus do the same steak for lunch as they do for dinner. It's just called a frokostbøf, and then it's half price. You can get 2 for 1 beers between 4 and 5 because nobody are coming at that time. So it's cheaper because we can see that the restaurant is empty. And all that has been around for as long as any of us can remember, at least, and probably much longer. We just try to do this in a digitalized way. And then we also try to give it the opposite. We also try to go premium price, which customers, of course, will need to. People will get angry in the beginning if you just show them. If you just give them a menu card where it says, yeah, it's 20% more because many people want to stay. You wouldn't understand it. But if you tell them that you have a Valentine's menu, it's maybe a little bit more easy to understand that this is more expensive because it's a special day. It's really a movement that needs to take time, and you really have to watch what step you take, because if you go the wrong direction, you can create a shitstorm towards yourself about trying to cheat people.
It goes both ways, right? Because you also offer cheaper deals when there's less demand. Yeah.
And that's where, and yeah, maybe sorry if we're going a little bit out of another road again, but we're trying to build some of these IT companies that do it on a transparent algorithm. So the student that has less money wants to go out and eat a little bit cheaper, he can also go in himself and see it very transparent that, okay, if I come on a Tuesday at 5, it's also costing 40% less. But if I want to go out and eat Saturday at a prime time spot and this location, it's actually an overprice. And then the guy in suits wants that and only goes out once every half a year with his brothers from the golf club or whatever, they can pay the overprice because they actually don't care. It's about getting away from the kids and having time with friends and all that. So I think actually as long as it's transparent, there's a lot of room for it also in the restaurant industry. As there is with hotels, airplanes, no people have paid the same for the flight ticket ever. And everybody knows. Nobody think about it.
But there's a prime example in food and beverage as well with sushi places, all you can eat. They do the exact same thing, right? Like Monday to Thursday often, you pay maybe half for the same menu as on the weekends, and that's how they go. One thing that's interesting to ask, Bjarke, because you have like a lot of locations now. How do you go about allocating like budgets for the campaigns and stuff for those different locations? Like, of course, we have the obvious times of the year, but I guess with all those different concepts, the year is just completely different throughout for each of them.
But that's luckily not me, because that would be so difficult. The algorithm is helping, and then we also have I'm talking about if I do everything myself, but we're sitting 26 people, including me, at the office, and 7 of them are sitting in marketing and branding and knows way more about when to allocate. But the easy answer is also that the algorithm understands that restaurants where demand is not met, you have 100 seats, there's only 30 on Tuesday next week, then it starts pushing. If you have a restaurant where you can see it's almost difficult to find a place within the next month, shut it down, because that will get in yourself, and that's statistics, right? So it's based on statistics from the algorithm that understands supply and demand and can see a forecast. And that's where we are a little bit fortunate in our industry, because we have booking systems that are very data-driven and actually gives you so much forecast for free. Where, again, clothing industry, you can hope that people will buy the same as they did April last year when you did the spring collection. I have no clue, to be honest. So we can see in the future already. And then you can do statistics on walk-ins, tourist seasons, etc. And those tend to actually be somewhat true, at least when you get that data amount that we have.
When would you say a restaurant should start hiring people for looking into data and branding and stuff? Because most restaurants won't necessarily have a team like this. So if you had, let's say, a restaurant that was thriving, you might be considering opening a second location. Do you think that's the spot for getting in this type of people?
I think you shouldn't hire them before it's somewhat bigger than that, because the truth is that all the systems can do it for you as well. It's not necessary to have a data guy or have a team or have an office with 26 people at all. The IT systems of booking systems, of your plan day, it's called, I don't remember, scheduling system, etc. Your systems for planning your work schedule and etc. able to talk together, also with your POS system, and all this is triangulating your data already for you. It talks together, and it's not that you have to sit with this and understand it for a long time. You can just ask people to put in a check mark if they want to leave their mail, and then you're already starting to collect mails. And if you want to send out a mail that you are doing lunch now, then you go in there and send it to the people that wants to hear about you. And everybody should do this from before they open, to be honest. Hiring specific internal data guys is not for most, to be honest. But there's also great teams externally that can do that for you from the beginning and help you with all these things. And big chances are that your POS provider or your booking system, etc., will also help you understand it, because that's what they do. All of them in our industry understand the data journey and understand the respect for data. So it's basically just asking from the start, I would say.
I'm glad you're saying that, because that's what we're doing as well with Workfeed, of course.
What do you use for booking? Can I start?
That's not a beep. It's only
That's okay.
that's okay. For booking, we use Easy Tail Booking, and we have a really good relationship with them and have had from the beginning. It's a Danish-based company that just keeps wanting to develop on exactly this.
And we collaborate with them quite a lot.
Yeah.
They are very nice.
Cool.
But that's also one thing we try to do with Workfeed is just taking the booking data, show hour for hour how many people can you expect, and then you can just hold it up against your schedule and say, okay, am my schedule actually fitting the rush hour and the low period? Maybe that's where we do the transfers of shifts between people, or like some people leaving, some other coming in.
Exactly.
So I think it's a good point what you're saying, that it's actually pretty much within access for most restaurants to get started on it, as long as they want to.
It's also where AI will start playing a bigger and bigger role. It's already doing as we speak, but same as you're saying here, right? It's also about, optimizing margins. If you can find 15 minutes here or 30 minutes here of maybe 3-4 people in a restaurant per day across, let's say, 15 locations, bottom line, that will make huge differences. And I think that's also the benefit for a lot of restaurateurs, especially who want to expand, that it becomes more accessible.
Exactly.
And in general, that's also a nice development for the smaller ones out there. They can start operating like the bigger concerns.
I agree. And it's also very important to state that we don't have one data line that just provides us all our bookings. We have so many different things. It's not a one-legged chair. It's maybe a 20-legged chair where that's one of the things that gives people into the restaurant. There's so many other things, and you don't have to focus on all of them. But of course, neglecting that 2 to 3 tables from this one leg over here is then you have to find them someplace else. So it's a good idea to get started on different things, but it's still we also have a place right next to Comedy Zoo. Of course, we have made an agreement with them that they also send some bookings from them over to us, etc. And that gives us maybe 5 tables a day. It's a big contributor to the overall picture. And don't neglect that. Don't go into data alone and just focus on that. Do what we have always done, but don't think that it's not coming and coming to stay also to focus on the data point, right? That's...
And another side of data, we spoke a lot about just forecasting traffic, basically. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you look into margins, like how you operate? I believe you are very aware of food waste, for instance. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah. This is going to be nerdy.
All here for it. Shall I take my glasses?
No, but it's a really exciting topic and also super important. And where we use it a lot is that in the restaurant industry, together with a lot of other service industries, the variable costs are what kills most people. It's never the small fixed costs. It's the pay for your staff. It's exactly the food cost, etc. And that's also why there's so much talk about it. And what we kind of try to do is to keep it very narrow, like our supply for actual meals. So we only have 2 different menus at each location. There's one including proteins from fish and animal, and then there's only green one. And that's the structure that we have. So it's very limited, different amount of products they have to do in the kitchen. And then on top of that, we have decided to try to fill our restaurants. It's a weird thing to say because everybody wants to do that, but that's where the algorithm and everything works together again, because we actually take the food purchase on a fixed cost when we calculate as well. We almost take staffing cost on fixed cost as well, at least for 80% of our restaurants, the smaller ones. We can do that. The first restaurant, Norrlyst, there's always 3 waiters on, and there's always 2 chefs. It's like written Monday to Sunday. It's the same, lunch to evening. That's how it is. So it is actually fixed. It's very close to being fixed. Electricity we calculate as fixed. Invoices for everything that there could be of variables throughout the season. And when you start to see it like that, it's very easy to also optimize on waste, if it's food waste, salary waste, etc. And it's easier to optimize on your profit income as well. Should we do breakfast as well in terms of putting this up? If you look at everything as a fixed cost, would that just be a cherry on top, etc.? And that have helped us a lot. We calculate the empty tables. We never calculate how many tables we had. We calculated how many didn't we had booked tonight or today for lunch. See it again as the aviation industry when SAS plane leaves the airport. They have already paid for the spot at whatever airport they're leaving. They also paid for the spot at the airport they're landing in. The pilot salary is paid. The steward's salaries. The fuel is going to be the same. Like that one person sitting on aisle 26 is not going to cost anything fixed. So that's pure income. Even if he only pays 50 kroner for the ticket, it will be a pure income profit on top of that. Of course, you can't see it like that, because if people understand that, then everybody will just wait to book, and you have to again understand the algorithm around it. But Ryanair did this. Then they knew that if they just sold a ticket for almost nothing, they could sell them lottery tickets. They could sell them hot dogs. They could sell them water. They just took money for putting in extra luggage, and they did all these cheat codes around trying to get people into their plane by just doing the one normally expensive thing very cheap and then putting the rest around. And somehow the way that they understood calculations of fixed and variable cost is what we also use today. It's not that we try to sell lottery tickets when people get into the chairs or anything, but
That'd be pretty. No, but every now and then there goes an expensive wine bottle, like the wine menu.
Exactly.
The luxury one comes on the table. But I imagine this is where you use the mailing list a lot then as well to fill up those seats
and
to
also
make sure.
maybe back to one of the first questions of where I also maybe use a little bit of my background as CBS financial student, and of course this is a little bit nerdy and also a little bit difficult to just say, okay, so now I look at it fixed. How do I use that for anything? But it is actually how we talk about it. We talk about all these variables as fixed, and then we just look at income side and try to make that match whatever expenditures there is, and that had helped us a lot on also having zero food waste. We actually purchase meat on orders where we can tell our supplier that we will every Monday we need 100 kilos of eggs, or every day we need 10 kilos of eggs. It helps them to know to call the farmer and say we need X amount of this for us for the next 3 months, and it helps the whole supply chain. So you also get better prices first of all, but you also help everybody else get a better deal out of it, because you take it as a fixed thing. We know that this is the menu we have for the next 3 months. You can call the farmer and say, I'll need 10 cows in the next 3 months. And that is so beneficial for him. Wine supplier, you can call directly and say, I need 600 bottles of this. So you can buy a pallet and transport it yourself instead of going through 7 links of suppliers that needs to take a cut. Helps the farmer to get rid of 600 bottles of wine, and he will make more money on it, and helps us.
You just avoid sudden price changes, right? Like we had that
also
little issue in the US not too long ago with the eggs just doubling or tripling prices. Yeah, if you get that, especially as a small restaurateur.
It happened in Denmark as well. What was it? Oil. Just we at one point we had a basement like half full with oil because we knew there was going to be more expensive, so we stocked up, and we have done it with some other things as well. Stock like in Fung. It's raised in price like ridiculously at one point.
We also had the pistachios, like the Dubai chocolate hype that created like a huge inflation on pistachio. Everyone wanted to make cream out of it, and it was crazy. Completely different topic. We spoke a little bit about restaurant Udtryk. Believe you opened in end of April, somehow, or around that time.
Yeah, more or less.
And how long did it take you to get a Michelin star?
41 days.
Is that a record?
Yes. And maybe it's a Scandinavian record, maybe European, maybe world.
We gotta have to fact check that, but
you can't. Trust me, we tried. At least.
Can't you just call them or something like?
No,
they do not know. Basically.
No, and you can't call Michelin. Michelin is not somebody that you contact. They contact you. There's not too much records of it when you go outside of Europe, at least. Then there's one in Europe where it actually took less time, but it was stopped by Corona in the middle. So they decided to calculate before Corona, after Corona, only opening days, which you also have to. So we're just calling it a record. And I also saw that all the newspapers also just decided to call it a record. Nobody have said anything. So like everybody tried to fact check it. Nobody knows. So
and regardless, it's incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you hope for it when you got it? Like, was there a slight hope that you might actually be able to over to get it?
When we actually decided to open at that time, we had 100% an idea that we was not gonna be for this year. 2 years ago, a restaurant called Aura got it in 80-something days, and that was everybody talked about that's too fast, and how is it even possible? And we didn't think it was close to being possible. We knew the level was there, and we knew that we wanted to go for something between 1 and 2 stars in the future, but we couldn't imagine that. We then found out that Michelin came to the restaurant 3 days after opening. The first guy came, and then the second one came some days after. It was like, it also looked very cramped, that they wanted to visit us very fast. Then we started to talk, would it be, could it be? And then the boring truth is actually with Michelin, you get invited somewhat before the actual show happens. They need to get you there, of course, and they need to tell you, they need some pictures uploaded, they need some information about owners, head chefs, etc. So we got invited 20-something days before the actual show, and that period was with some of us having a big idea about, it happens. And a lot of us didn't believe it, which was also very crazy period. And then, of course, the day came, and we were all nervous as hell, and just hoping for that the dream actually come true. But we actually, I personally almost didn't believe it still, but luckily it came.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you know the Michelin guides are actually visiting your restaurant? You don't really, right?
We don't really, but that's maybe where at least that end of the industry talk together the most. The truth is nobody knows anything. We know nothing, and everybody guess this person must be or that, or there is some list flying around, Excel spreadsheets with names and numbers and emails, and nobody know anything.
We should have a guy from the Michelin guide on the podcast, and just anonymous face and like
indeed, here we go.
If you guys
maybe you guys could,
one,
maybe you could hook us up, because you clearly have like a list of suspects.
At least the list gets shared, and when there's some names that are on all lists, then statistically again there's some feelings that this could be.
But we need to mask him.
Or
her.
100%.
Or
also the voice, like
I can tell you they're not going to participate, and this has nothing to do with you guys anything, but they have like hardcore contracts. These people are living for this, and this is what they do, and they don't want fame, they don't want to share, they don't want anything, they want to be a part of this
mystery.
Yeah, and are so passionate and so good at what they do, and it could be. I would love if you guys could.
We will try and see if we can indeed get it like completely anonymous, but I doubt it. But never say never. You mentioned that it was the goal with Udtryk to get a star or two.
Yeah.
How did you approach the opening and the introduction of that concept differently than the other ones? Again, you can't plan for it to happen this fast, but I guess you did a few things right. Maybe you can talk us through it.
It's like building a car. You do know if you're gonna build a Ford or if you're building a Lamborghini, and of course it takes more time and it's more difficult to build a Lamborghini. But you also still know what you're building, what material you're gonna use for it, what motor you put in it, etc. And it's basically the same thing. It's not that every time you open a restaurant you're hoping for, let's do it on the highest level possible and you have to make it fit for price, whatever you want to offer, etc., etc. Like smørbrød, of course, we can also make a piece of smørbrød for 500 kroner that's filled with caviar and truffles and everything, but it's not what we should do, and not what Norrlyst restaurant, for example, or Væksthuset is about to. So it's a whole different journey, and that journey is much longer, and the list is much longer of points that you need to think of. it's everything from temperature to smells to everything decor-wise in the toilet to suppliers. The artist had to create art for the restaurant, and that takes time. And working with artists also a different supplier than just buying a piece of fish or meat. Or
the budget is completely different, of course.
Very different. You don't do it to make money. You
answered my next question.
It's run by passion, and maybe not. Maybe it's gonna answer the whole next question. But 2014, last year, Norrlyst opened 6 restaurants and doubled in size very fast, especially in staff size. We had around 200 employees that became a little bit more than 400 employees, and opened 6 new restaurants where we did more or less everything ourselves from the beginning. And that was a busy year for everybody. It was a year full of neglecting some other stuff also, and not building on so much else than just scaling up. So we also decided at the end of that year that 2025 should be different. So we decided there that we should open 1 to 2 restaurants, and then instead of doing scale, we would try to do quality and see how big we could go there. Also well aware that it was a money-losing try. There is, of course, also some different side stories about having a Michelin star restaurant. We're talking about it now. It's a branding thing. It's a golden
it's your flagship.
star. Yeah, exactly. It's a flagship store, and that brings value in that's sometimes difficult to measure, but still easy to understand. And if you look at it like that, I'm pretty sure that it's not been a bad decision financially either to open Udtryk. But if you look at the pure bottom line, it's never going to be a profitable thing. Every person that comes in receive goods only on food for around 1,800 kroners, 100 kroners on our purchase prices, ex VAT. And you pay 1,800 for this. Like it's ridiculously small margins that we have compared to we have like 20-25 guests.
Is the menu 1,800?
Yeah, 1,850 I think.
So around 200 euros. It's also decent price. Like
it's very expensive for food, but if you think about what we pay for it, and then there is 7 chefs working every day on creating that food for you, and then there's 5 to 6 waiters giving you the food down. So 12 to 13 staff that actually have to give you this on the side. It's quick to calculate minus at the end of that story. But,
actually. But I mean, the price, like of course it's expensive, but if you look into maybe similar restaurants, it often goes a lot higher there as well.
Very much agree.
And the growth you just mentioned basically doubled in terms of size. Is that funded by the profits of the other location? So you're completely self-funded there?
Yeah. Today we're still, I still own 100% of everything of Norrlyst Group, and haven't borrowed any money yet from bank or external founders or anything, investors. And I think we would love to keep it as that, because we can grow naturally, and we can grow in the tempo that
you decide to pace yourself, basically.
Huh?
You decide to pace yourself.
Exactly.
You have the freedom.
So if we had a board of directors with a lot of investors, and we did open 6 restaurants last year and double in size, what do you think they want next year? And next year again,
double,
and next year again,
double
it again, double it again,
double or nothing.
And the foundation is rarely strong enough for that. We have seen it so many times with investors going into big groups in our industry and hoping to just keep this tempo or something. But when you work in service, when you work with people, it's a different strategy. It's a joint use strategy for me, or a hotel strategy, and that has to be something different. If you work like wanting to go and do a Michelin star restaurant, so if you built Fords before and then you want to do a Lamborghini, it's almost impossible to have that plan.
It's also pretty well connected with what you said in the beginning, when you had that dream of opening a restaurant, having your family come by and kind of have a peaceful harmony between work and life outside of work. I think owning everything yourself, not having pressure to scale, that also helps you a lot, right? To
Very much.
kind of build the life you want around it. I also saw on LinkedIn, it seems like a lot of the praise you have for the whole concept is what you created together with the people working in it. Can we maybe touch a little bit upon like that as creating a workplace? Because now you employ plus 450 people, right? That's kind of crazy. Like, how is it?
It is crazy, and it's a pressure on a different level because again, a beautiful journey of this conversation as well. But the Bjarke risk averseness is still in there, and very much ready to take high risk on his personal level. So whatever affects me, I'm just ready to gamble and bet on myself. But now I have the responsibilities for 450 people, their payments of paying their own rent, their families, their everything. And risk averseness is not an option anymore. Now it's structure. You have to build a strong foundation and make sure to live up to the responsibility of having so many people's paycheck at least, and also everyday work life in your hands. So many things have changed, and it is a crazy feeling to have all that responsibility. But we also have a big team now to make sure that the 450. So like again, it grows naturally. HR is now represented. You have a whistleblower account. You have employee apps. You have communications tools that are much better. You have a whole operation team. We're sitting like 7 people at the office operating the operation teams at the restaurants. We have external help with education and development of key staff, and we have so many tools helping us recruit as well. So, of course, the reality of what you are responsible for is much higher, but the help is also much higher. So it goes hand in hand.
Yeah. The other side of the scaling part, doubling staff. What do you do to make sure that you maintain culture? And that you spoke a lot about, you like to progress people internally as well, right? Can you tell us more about the systems you have in place there to ensure that culture is being kept and that people grow?
That was one of the learning points from 2024. What also made us change that for 2025, and one of the keys
too fast, basically.
At least culture is really hitting the nail, because nobody, at least from the administration, could maintain that. So if the cultural barrel cultural people from each restaurant decided to stop within that year, nobody could really help bring that back to life or maintain that. So there was a lot of chances taken, and some of the restaurants also got hit from that. If key staff had to leave for one reason or another, then the culture had to refine itself, and without control and without supervision, and that's 100% something where we need to have better systems and time, because we were all hung up by making sure that we meet these deadlines that we also promised to one another and externally, and then culture somehow becomes secondary, even though it should never be. But if there is a fire one place, then this soft topic that is not something that you can measure or put in a complaint email or anything, then that's something you can see maybe from feedback changing, employer happiness changing a little bit. So we built a lot of systems also at the end of last year around recruitment and onboarding, especially, where we try to have these cultural barrels really take it out to the restaurants as well. Last year we more or less recruited 1 person per day. Wow. Which sounds ridiculous, but 220 new people, and then also retaining whatever leaves at the same time in an industry with a high turnover. It was 0.9 person a day or something. So you also really need a system for recruiting, and we have people hired only to recruit at the moment, which is also crazy to have to recruit people to recruit, and that's it's a meta place of learning curve, but really learn that, and that's also where let's open 1 or 2 restaurants and hire not too much new staff, get the culture back up, and as I mentioned to you guys before we started the recording, we had staff party yesterday, 250 happy, hopefully, employees, at least it seemed like it. 350 showed up, and you could just feel that the culture was also starting to bounce back, because most of them have been here now for some time as well, and it's not all new. Also, if all your colleagues are new, who's even having the culture anymore? Like so if you recruit one per day, where's the culture at? And it's really good for the foundation that we put a little bit a foot on the brake without even actually doing it, but at least in the recruitment world. Yeah.
Must have been a proud moment for you then yesterday as well.
It is every time. That we get everybody together. It's crazy to see so many people dressed up and happy and mingling and socializing and drinking way too much and eating way too little, and that's
the Danish way.
I don't think it's just Danish, but you do excel at it.
True.
Bjarke, thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking with you.
It was
Agreed. Really a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.